Okay, Ceci, let's take a look here. And do you have any questions before I look at it? Any particular questions we need to discuss?
Well, no, I couldn't see my results and discussion section before my differentiation.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. I haven't left a lot of comments. I wanted to wait till you get here so we can kind of look at it together. So. Um, Now here, it looks like that this first paragraph is our results, right? Under the way teacher uses authentic video. And then this is your your analysis, your discussion?
Yes.
Okay. Here, when you say, for example, Tom used a song for observation, and he mentioned he uses song 2 times per month. Let's see, which means that he spends. I mean, this is still kind of results for me. This sounds more like results.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you can replace the sentence with one that interprets, or maybe you include this information in up here.
Can I like retook something from the result section? Well, from the previous paragraph, like to make like the discussion.
Okay, so Tom mentioned that he uses authentic 3 or 4 times. This type of material he uses songs. Right. The interview Tom said that he uses songs every 15 days. Okay, like you say here, it was observed that Tom used a song. Once mentioned he used authentic 3 or 4 times. And the type of material that he used songs every 15 days. On the other hand. All right, in this case, when you observed, if you could be more specific, in this case, time during, how many classes did you observe? And time used the song once, was it 1 class, 2 classes? How long? And try to be a little more specific about the one time that he used songs. Same way with Nicole, if you can be more specific. You know, how long of a class? Was it the entire class? Was it 2 classes? Okay, now here, which means that he spends half the time reserved for the use of, he uses half. See, I don't know if I get, see, time uses, mentioned that he uses the songs twice a month. But do you say the time uses it twice a month? Here you say Tom mentioned that he uses authentic material 3 or 4 times. But you don't say how many times he uses songs.
No.
Okay. So maybe you can mention how many times he uses songs. And maybe in the case of Nicole, how many times Nicole uses a movie, how often, and just include that up here in this paragraph. And then say something like here, you're saying that he spends half the time using authentic materials, but do you want to talk about authentic materials or just songs? Or,
Okay.
All right, so just be careful not to kind of go back and forth. Make it very clear when you're talking about authentic materials. Make it very clear when you're talking about songs or movies. And maybe it's not all that important to talk about authentic materials. Maybe just talk about songs. I mean, you decide, but make sure that you don't kind of go back and forth between this term authentic materials and songs, which in movies, which is what you really were focusing on.
Okay.
So, and here try to discuss this in a little bit more detail about how often, like even if it's minutes. I mean, how many minutes? How long did they use? Did Nicole spend less time with movies kind of compared with Tom, or whatever else you can kind of do to compare that? Tom used a movie during the observation she mentioned. So yeah, this is also discussion. I mean, results. So for me, these two are results. So I think you need, just in general, up to now, these two paragraphs, you need a little bit, you have too many results and not enough discussion. So try it in this one paragraph, if this is the intention to discuss, to make sure that you are interpreting this information. Maybe some of this information you can include up here. Maybe some of this information you can take out. Or it depends on your word count, how many words you cut. So let's look at the next paragraph. Be careful with your sentences here. Make sure you have complete sentences. In fact, this you can just say, Tom, and it. In the observation, Tom gave classes in the same classroom where a teacher has classes. Now check your verb tense. You have the past here and the present here. Okay, you don't have to say this really. It was also registered. Tom used the screen that is part of the facilities and equipment. Developed activity where the teacher used materials. Who's participant B?
Monica.
Okay. Tom said the interview that he does not. Did Nicole tell you anything about how she deals with this challenge of not being familiar with the equipment? She says that it doesn't have an adapter, so I can't use it. This is a challenge. And I'm just going to put a note here for you to think about if there's any information that she shared with you about how she overcomes some of these challenges. Now, do you have, are you including citations?
Yes.
Okay, so far I don't see any though.
No.
So you need to have, so remember the part of your discussion is also you make a recommendation, so you might be able to make recommendations and back them up with citations. What did some of the experts say about how to prepare yourself with technology?
Okay. Did you mean about the experts, not from the teacher, right?
Yeah, experts
Okay.
like you're from the literature.
No, I think in that part I don't have any citation.
Right, but I think you could. I think you
Okay.
can include here, and one time earlier, I think you can also include some
Okay.
citations. You want to avoid this. It was observed. Okay, avoid. And it's easy to fix. Instead of saying it was observed that Tom, just say Tom and Michelle performed.
Mm-hmm.
Vamos. Eliminar este. I want you to go in and remove every time you say registered and remove it. Okay? So for the first stage, the observation of time students before using the song. So in this section, what do you want to talk about?
Mm.
Activities when using authentic materials. What do you want to talk about in this section? The first section you're talking about the way teachers use authentic video. Okay, so the first paragraph you're talking about frequency, how often.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second paragraph, the technology, equipment, and facilities needed for the use of authentic materials influence the teacher's decision. So something about the accessibility of technology. Do they have access? Do they know how to use it? Now, activities when using authentic materials. The enforcement of these diverse stages. Yes.
I mentioned something about the stages.
The stages of the lesson plan.
Well, during what kind of the way they do like the activities or.
Okay. And so how do teachers use captions? And how do teachers use listening strategies? Are you going to modify any of your research questions?
Yes, I think so, teacher.
And how? Or have you done it yet?
No.
All right, so how are you going to modify your research questions? Because you need to go ahead and do that right away, because this is what I keep referring to whenever I look at your results and discussion. ¿Cómo quedó?
Es que no traje mis notas.
¿Recuerdas más o menos? Because I need to know if you're answering the
research questions.
The other research questions. So for the before stage, what stages are we? What are the stages? So 3 stages of the lesson. What are the 3 stages of the lesson?
They were like the before, while, and after.
So here do you have 2, what type of, this paragraph, are you mixing results and discussion or just results?
Yes, I think just results, but I think I missed the discussion part for the 2 first paragraphs.
Well, because the second paragraph also is evidence, no?
Yes.
And then third paragraph.
It's about something different.
Tom mentioned that the activity, last evidence.
See, yes, I remember well now. I forgot to add the discussion section for the 2 first paragraph.
Okay. All right, so you can have 1 discussion paragraph for these 2 paragraphs. Is that the idea?
Yes, because I had like troubles because I thought that I could be easy to write 1 paragraph for 1 participant and then another paragraph for another. Because if I mix like the stages, it was like more complicated because.
Are they really different, these 2 in this case? Whatever this about talking about before the before stage.
But what do you mean with different?
Well, you have evidence about Tom, and then you have evidence about Nicole. Are there differences between how they apply authentic materials? I mean, here we're talking about songs and movies, no?
Mm-hmm.
And before they apply it, Um, yeah, activities. I'm struggling with this. I'm trying to like, what are we talking about? So um, here you're talking about how the teacher builds schemata, no, about how they prepare the students with the songs of the movies. So here you're talking about activities, but are you giving examples of activities? Because here you're talking about uh, like language. How many tenses? Like maybe these are more like strategies, or like building schemata as a teaching strategy. Or do you want to talk about types of activities? I mean, whatever you say here, this has to be in line with this. So, you decide. Are we talking about techniques, strategies, activities? We have to be very careful with the terms that we use. If it's activities, for me, that means like a 10-minute activity doing something, right? Or a 15-minute activity, or a 30-minute activity doing something, an activity. Strategy would be something that they talk about, the language that they use, and where you direct quote. And you say, okay, remember what we did last week? Okay, that could be an example of a direct quote where they're linking to something that they did last week or something. Like here, I'm looking for activities, and you're not talking about activities, I don't think, are you? I mean, this is like, before they get to attention, Tom asked the students, remember these tenses? How many tenses? Okay, after that, this action was repeated several times, and for the while stage, so we had before and the while. I would say during. I mean, are these stages? I guess they are they? Okay, so stages, during, and then after. Are you talking about all three stages in one paragraph? Before, during, and after?
In one paragraph?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So while was observed, who wants to help me with the reading instructions? After reading instructions, I played the song twice. And answered by listening information. Then some students expressed some questions related to the vocabulary. After clarifying students' that it's a class. Like here, I don't see anything about the after. It's like before, during, and after, no?
Mm-hmm.
But Akiti says while. Okay, blah, 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 this, da, da, da. In the interview, he commented he planned to review the sentence first. Okay, in Tom's case, he did not continue with the post stage where he used vocabulary. He did not continue with the post stage where he used the vocabulary and tenses. So he didn't do anything with the post?
No, he just like finished the class.
Okay, go ahead.
Now I remember that he said that he planned another activity, but in that class, just like they were like 5 students. I don't remember exactly the number. And he said that he will skip that activity because he didn't hit enough.
Okay, so say that.
Okay.
Tom said that, sí, lo que me dijiste.
Okay.
Pero de preferencia una direct quote, like. On the other hand, so how long did each one of these stages last? How long did the before last?
Oh, I didn't mention it.
But you can time this, no?
Yes.
Maybe a chart that kind of makes all this a little bit easier to follow, because you're setting this up to contrast between Nicole and Tom, and see, like here, this is the third, like, okay, here's one. On the other hand, Nicole. Now this is your third paragraph in this section, and you start with, in the interview, Tom mentioned this is more evidence still.
Yes.
Like, I think you're missing discussion.
Discussion, yes, I missed.
So you need to take a look at this, and you're probably going to have to take something out because your word count's pretty close. No? Got like 2,100 words, something like that?
I think they were 2,300, more or less, yes.
So you're probably going to have to take something out because you don't have enough discussion.
Okay.
See? And I think, so you got 2,000, according to this, 2,100, that's pretty close. I mean, you know, another 80 words or so.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have to take some stuff out. Only talk about the most important information, but think about how you're explaining and comparing these two teachers, and add charts. Put like Nicole and Tom, and pre, during, after. Fill in the chart.
Okay.
Make it, because it's, remember, somebody has to understand, they have to read this and understand what you're saying. So try to ask yourself, if it gets too much, like a lot of words and gets kind of confusing, then use a chart or a graph or an image or a pie chart or something.
Okay, like part of the results section, like trying to.
Yeah, you can insert graphs however you want, throughout this. See table, see chart 1, and then the chart, and then describe, certain parts of the chart. You don't have to go into detail like you're doing here. You can just talk about the highlights, and then discuss what does it mean. Interpret the chart. What does that mean? Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. So go ahead. I want you to take another look at it. Add more discussion. Add some charts, and take a look at probably taking some information, some of these results out, because you've got quite a bit. Okay. Let's see what else. So first you're going to talk about authentic materials, then you're going to talk about strategies for listening comprehension?
Yes.
Or do you want to talk about listening comprehension first? Or qué opinas? I mean, the important, I think, aspect of your research is authentic materials, specifically songs and movies, right? So, maybe you want to end with that? Or do you want to, because, or what? ¿Qué opinas? ¿Qué piensas?
Bueno, o sea, sí tiene como, pues no sé, sí le da como más importancia así el orden en el que aparecen, digamos, en la results, en la discussion section. O sea, por ejemplo, determinado título, o sea, que vaya primero, segundo, tercero, si tienen como...
¿Me dices o me...?
Ajá, se les pregunta.
Ok. Bueno, usualmente queremos determinar lo que es lo más importante para tener más impacto hasta el final. Y lo que viene primero, como menos, o algo que necesitan saber primero para dar contexto o para que tiene más impacto al final. Por ejemplo, en tu caso, authentic materials, listening comprehension, strategies, ¿verdad? Eso es lo que estás enfocando. The listening comprehension strategies applies para cualquier tipo de material, ¿verdad? Es como en general, son estrategias.
Mhm.
Entonces, ¿cómo quieres presentar este? ¿Quieres primero hablar de las estrategias lo que están utilizando y luego terminar con o vamos a ver. Strategies for listening comprehension. The use of captions. Ahora, estás hablando de captions, pero no estás mencionando captions aquí.
Mhm.
The use of captions helps students to improve their listening comprehension. All right. ¿Todo este habla de captions o nada más este párrafo?
Es nada más. Ajá.
¿Nada más este párrafo?
A ver.
Dice, the use of captions helps students to improve listening comprehension. And then here, listening and reading at the same time creates links for understanding a foreign language. Teachers have their own ways of checking students' comprehension. Assessment. Está bien, si tú quieres terminar con este, está bien, pero mencionas algo de songs.
También,
todo
sí.
está dentro del contexto de
Ujú.
las películas y las canciones. So, Tom says using captions is good for students because they can read at the same time. Listening and reading at the same time. Okay, este análisis está relacionado a este.
Sí, el de abajo. El segundo, sí.
Because here, estás hablando de captions.
Ujú.
Entonces aquí, tienes que hablar algo de captions. Es decir, vas a interpretar este. Aquí estás hablando de otra cosa, listening and reading at the same time. Ese es otro, bueno. O listening and reading through the use of captions. Mencionado otra vez. Through the use of captions. Creates a link. ¿Sí? Y both teachers confirmed this is evidence. Confirmed the use of it in the original in this case is beneficial for students. See?
Ujú.
Put your results here and then discuss it if that's what you want to do, like results in one paragraph and then the discussion in another. But you're still mixing. Like what does this mean? Interpret the results. Critique it. Is it good or bad? What suggestions can you make? And include any citations. Adelante. Hola.
¿Puedes hacerlo rápido?
Sí, que...
Es que no va a poder ir en clase.
¿Mandé?
No va a poder ir a...
Ah, ok.
Y del video me podrías grabar.
Sí, si quieres, todo lo demás van a...
Sí,
van
los
a ir.
demás sí.
Ah, ok, no, si quieres la próxima clase.
Bueno.
Sí, no hay problema.
Y te puedo dejar, estos son Magali míos del servicio.
Ah, ok, sí, muy bien.
Eso sería todo.
Ok, sale, gracias.
Gracias.
Bye, bye. Okay, here you have a citation. That's okay. Teachers have their own ways of checking students' comprehension. Yeah. So here, if this is a heading, strategies for listening comprehension. Okay, what's the first strategy? Captions. Okay, what's the second strategy? ¿Cómo se dice la otra estrategia?
Well.
Ahí. Y es lo que estoy buscando en los topic sentences. Okay?
Uh-huh.
Captioning, bien. Y este se trata de películas, ¿verdad? Ahora, tienes una estrategia para las canciones, tal vez, porque como que tienes una de canción y otra de película, ¿verdad? En el topic sentence, una estrategia para canciones es esta, ¿sí? Or the first one, a strategy for using captions helps students, but you're talking about movies and captions. So, it's okay. Si tú quieres dejarlo hasta el final, ok, está bien. Estoy preguntando para que tú tienes una razón que tú puedes explicar y que estás pensando cómo, por qué estás poniendo así en este orden esta información. Sí. But I think you need a little bit more discussion here at the first. And again, just make sure those topic sentences are very clear. Are we talking activities? And if it's activities, I think like, okay, how many activities? Describe each one. How long did it last? What were they working in teams or groups? That's what I think about when I think of activities. If you're talking about techniques, then that's more like what the teacher is doing. Okay. Or saying, you know, and you're very specific about that. So if it's, and you're talking later about strategies, which is a different thing. So think about that. Take a look at that, and we need to have another discussion. I'd like to have another talk with you before you finish, to see that you're covered, that it's clear. But you definitely need to add more discussion here. Okay? And probably take out some of the evidence.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
Well, no. Well, only yes. It's all related with the method section.
Okay.
Because I don't know. I thought that I could add the information from the questionnaire in the results and discussion section, but now, well, I have to triangulate the information, so I don't know if I have like to mention that the questionnaire was applied to select like to teachers that uses.
Not in the results in the.
But
discussion.
I mean, that information goes in the method.
Yeah, you could mention it in the participant section. You can say 2 teachers were chosen from using a questionnaire, and then describe the participants. Okay. You can say it like that. In the procedural section, there's also room there. You could say first, applied 18 questionnaires to teachers, and then
and that section is where I describe why I choose those 2 teachers.
I would probably describe why you chose to choose those 2 teachers in the participants section. You could say these 2 teachers were chosen because of this, and then describe, okay, they are 2 teachers, male, female, etc. Okay. Yeah. ¿Qué más?
I think that's all.
Okay, I'm going to be around Wednesday and Thursday, so if you want to schedule time, that's fine. Or if you want to just try to find me those 2 days, because I'll be back and forth between here and the academic week. So just, let me know. But I'd like to meet with you again and look at this again before Thursday.
Okay.
So I don't know, it's up to you if you want to schedule something now or see me later.
Let me send you, can I send you a message?
Sure, yes. So, all right, so let's just plan on that. Make sure that you finish with 1 printed copy, and you leave it with me before Thursday, before 2 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay, and then next week we start the mock presentations.
Yes.
Okay, do you know who you want to observe? Do you know when you're going to give your mock presentation?
Yes, well, I'm giving a presentation on Friday, the first week.
Okay.
But I don't know how we're going to observe our partners. I mean, I need to observe the Friday or another day.
Okay, you need to observe at least two of your classmates, and you can observe whomever you want.
So I decide.
You decide.
Okay.
And it can be the same students that present the same day, or if you want to, purposefully observe some other student some other day,
Okay.
that's fine too.
And do I need to complete a?
No, but I think I left the criteria in Canvas, like what to include in the reflection. So you're going to upload your reflection just like you normally do. But I list what to include. It's basically feedback that you received from your own performance, your own presentation, and the presentation, the feedback that was received by the other two students that you observed. And that's basically it.
And I mean, the observation and the feedback is like private. I mean, just with my classmate and that's it? Or do I need to have like a teacher or tutor?
The feedback that you get from your presentation?
Well, I mean, from my partners who observe me or partners who I observe.
Yeah, I mean, if someone observes you and does a reflection on you, they will observe you. They will come in and watch you.
Okay.
I don't know if I answer your question. They basically, you don't need to talk with the classmates. You don't need to ask them questions unless you want to. I mean, it's completely optional. I mean, so I say that you did this, how did you do that? But it's not really a requirement, but certainly there's nothing wrong with asking your classmates, hey, I noticed you did this, how did you do that? Definitely talk to your other classmates. But I'm not really requiring it as part of the reflection. I mean, if you do it, include it in the reflection, that would be really good. But it's not really, the main thing is that you are getting the feedback from your classmates and that you understand the feedback. And then if you don't understand the feedback, then you need to either ask the tutors or the student, so that we can try to clarify your doubts. But it's not really necessarily a requirement, but now that you mention it, I think it's a very good idea to talk to, your other students, the students that you observe. Say, oh, I see how you did this. I like how you did this. How did you do this? Or, I don't know why you did this. That's recommended.
Okay.
So, all right.
And do I need to be? I mean, to be present at the whole mock presentations, or
no? Just at least two.
Okay.
Just at least two, and again, they can be the same day, or you can come another day if you want to. If you see somebody that you really want to observe, right? That's fine. Do that. So I want to leave it open. I want you guys to decide who you want to observe. Not to say you have to observe these people. So I do. I know it's easy just to observe the students the same day that you're going to be there, but be aware of who you're observing and try to get the most out of your observation and your reflection. Because I think this is all to help prepare you for the final. Yes. And you're going to feel much better after you give the mock presentation, you do the reflection, you observe your other classmates, and you're going to feel much better. You're going to know what to expect. Okay. And that's the whole point. So, you decide who you want to observe. Okay. But let's really work on this, okay? To try to clean this up as best we can for Thursday. We're still going to have, in your case, when are you giving your mock presentation? What day?
The first Friday.
Okay, so you're going to have basically from the 22nd, and then you'll get feedback on your mock presentation from the other tutors. Then you're basically going to have another week after that to make the final changes and print out your final. So you're going to have time to do that, but I just want to get us very close. I want to get us as close as possible Thursday. So any other changes will be minimal. I don't want you to have to make a lot of changes at the very end. Okay, so triangulation, make sure you have a good balance between your results and discussion, add more discussion, and look again at the order. Make sure that you're happy with the structure of your results and discussion.
Okay.
Okay? Any other questions, doubts, concerns?
No.
All right. So just let me know, send me an email, or come see me if we need to have another discussion. And make sure I have the printed version in my hands by Thursday, please.
Yes. Before 2 o'clock.
Before 2 o'clock.
Yes.
All right. Okay, Ceci.
Thank you
I'll
so
see you
much.
later.
And
All
see you
right, bye.
later. Bye.